Blake, what are we seeing?
So there's definitely the belief, the big worry is, if they hit us, are they going to actually try to cause as much damage as they can? Or is it they need to show that they're willing to fight, much like we did, remember this in Trump's first term, where when we took out Soleimani, they shot missiles at us to sort of impress their own domestic political base, but they weren't really attempting to do as much damage as they could. They were not going to all-out war over this. And we might see a similar strategy here. On the other hand, it could also be they're testing it, probing it, seeing what might be vulnerable, or just trying to deplete our stockpile of interceptor missiles.
Yes. Okay, so breaking news. Iran says it has now launched what is called Operation Bakarat al-Fatah against the U.S.-led coalition of the airbase in Al Udeid in Qatar. The IRGC is to release a statement shortly, which means that this is probably coming to a conclusion, to an end. So this is the question, everybody. Is this a real escalation? Does Iran want to escalate this? Or is this kind of a domestic show of political force that they could check the box? Is it a one and done? Initial reports right now show 3 reports of impact at the U.S. base in Al Udeid. This is fog of war stuff, guys. So we have to like triple confirm all of this. Iranian missiles are being intercepted, but it looks as if, unfortunately, there have been 3 successful strikes in bases in Iraq. But we don't know if those are intercepted missiles that maybe made their way through. Are they fragments? Are they direct hits?
And if they hit, did they hit anything with people in it?
Yes. And so, by the way, this why every minute matters. The fact that there was almost an hour and a half or 2 hour heads up means that everybody could have gotten in vehicles and drove off base. They could get planes up in the air. They could get into bunkers. And by the way, the U.S. drew down their presence at a lot of these bases from 10,000 to 5,000. There's been a significant drawdown to try to limit some of the casualties and limit this response. If this response is limited to a few missiles, let's put 357 up. President Donald Trump will be able to declare an unbelievable military victory. We take out a nuclear capability. No Americans die. Okay, so let me just repeat. There are reports of 3 direct hits on U.S. bases in Qatar. No reports of U.S. casualties. No reports of U.S. casualties. The Iranian operation called the Annunciation of Victory. Again, these guys are they're just a bunch of talkers. They got a big mouth in Iran. Launched against U.S. bases in Iraq, Qatar, and Iran is confirming, of course, they're doing it. We know that. So Lindsey Graham is now saying now it's time to end this madness in Iran. He's just calling for absolute regime change. Mr. President, please, I will call you later with this message, but please resist Lindsey Graham, please. If they do not kill an American and they just bomb a bunch of our equipment, take the W. Take the W. You will be able to say you did the most successful military operation in history, taking out a nuclear program with no U.S. troops dies. If that ends up bearing out, we do not know that is true. Blake, can you comment on that? That would be a phenomenal victory.
It would be by far the biggest win for, I think, the way Trump sees his own military stuff of, I will act decisively, but without, with a clear objective, without any open-ended commitment. If he's able to even temporarily or significantly set back their nuclear program, let alone destroy it, if he can say, I blew this 20-year threat to smithereens, and all they did was they shot some bottle rockets at us and killed nobody, that is a big win for us.
And we don't want to get that. Americans might be dying right now, so we want to say that with humility. This is big breaking news. The Qatari Ministry of Defense reports that Qatari air defenses intercepted a missile attack aimed at the Al Udeid airbase. And so, by the way, thank you, Qatar. I know that there's been a lot of anti-Qatari language, and we haven't really gotten into that. But if it's true that Qatari air defenses intercepted a missile, then they might have saved American lives. So you have to. There has to be definitely some moral clarity there. And again, there's a lot of language that, okay, Qatar funds the pro-Hamas crowd. That seems to also be true, but there might be a very complicated actor.